Some of you all got quite perturbed, if you will. I'll say that your feathers got ruffled when I made the comment in 2 or 3 weeks ago about like leasing beats and not placing caps on them. How capping your unlimited beat leases can make you more money. That's the title of today's video. Yes, I believe this. I hate beat leases without caps on it. And I feel like you should hear me out on this, because it was more than one person that made this comment underneath that video. They were like, yo, like, you bugging. Have it unlimited. I'm like, okay, all right. So this, y'all clearly ain't been in the game that long. Maybe you've been only leasing beats. Maybe you've been only leasing beats for years and this is the only thing that you do. But I'm telling you that if one of those beats goes off, goes viral, and something happens with it, you're probably going to want that cap. And we're going to talk about it on today's video right here on the Music Money Makeover Show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Music Money Makeover Show. We're going to jump right into this thing. Now, producers seem to think that it's a good idea to sell unlimited leases, okay? Your issue is you want to make the sale. You want to get to the gold. I understand. Your failsafe is, well, everybody would have leased this beat anyway, and I have a content ID. I get it. Your villain is fast money, maybe feeding yourself, feeding your family, and sometimes you have to fight that urge of the initial need versus a better positioning later, okay? I'm telling you, I know, I get it. I know, man. I know that you need the money right now. And if that's all you want to do, fine. But if you want to pursue this as a career and you want to grow out of the leasing space, you got to cap those unlimited leases. You can either have mass sales or we can move into that Hot 100 position, the Billboard Hot 100. I know you may say, oh, I don't care about that chart, but it's a status symbol, right? I think it's better than these Grammys I have behind me, you know, on the wall. I don't know if you can see the little Grammy plaques or whatever. I think a Hot 100 placement is better than that simply because it's the exposure for the record. And if you have a cap on your lease, and we'll go into it, you'll see what I mean. Now, when I used to lease beats, I quickly saw that policing these leases was going to be a problem. It was going to be a headache. Later on, when I started this YouTube, I realized the headache that a lot of you all were having. And I was like, I already knew. So I've heard a lot of perspectives on the pain that you all have. So let's break it down without further ado. Let's talk about the limitations here. And why putting limits on the number of streams is a good thing. When you sell a beat lease, here's what you should factor into the cost of the lease. You should factor in a fraction of what it took you to make it. You should also factor in a prepayment on your producer royalty, a prepayment on your performance royalty. I just like that. I know it's a bit greedy. And then a prepayment on the mechanical royalty for the amount of leases that you have. But in order for you to do that, you must know what the mechanical rate is in digital form. That's when you got to book a call with me. But if you can do that in the original lease, then you should feel satisfied with your lease being capped at 500,000 streams or 1 million streams. I will say this, for the going rate at 500,000 streams at $30 to $45 per beat lease, the cap should sit around. I like the million cap, but it's going to be too high for someone who wants a lease. So at 500,000 to 650,000 is going to roughly be where you should be for that price range. Okay. But if you want to get gangster and really get the formula right, we can break it down so that you can do different tiers with that. Book a call with me. But let's talk about the unlimited lease. In the unlimited lease, you don't exactly run your numbers right. You actually just sell what you would have sold at the 500,000 stream cap for an unlimited number of usages. Now, you may say, well, look, man, you're only going to get one radio station, but, you know, they can get as many syncs as they want. Well, to be honest with you, what if the song goes viral? A lot of these artists aren't even doing radio campaigns, so who cares, right? They can still fly under the radar and not do a radio campaign. It's not their fault if the DJs pick it up and start spinning it. If they don't spend money at radio, how can you fault them for that? For what the people do, okay? At the same time, you have a sync clause in your BeatStars agreement, but if you don't know, music supervisors hate leased beats. On top of that, music supervisors hate beats with splice loops in it, especially if you didn't chop them up and rearrange them so it doesn't sound like anybody else used it. So you're at a disadvantage there, and you just sold the beat for the same rate you would have sold it if you capped it at 500,000 streams. Now, I'm saying this to say that if you cap it at that 500,000 streams, you have something to come back to the table and renegotiate on a lot better. Let's talk about our next thing. This mechanical royalty that somehow is written in the BeatStars agreement in a wacky way. Of course, you didn't negotiate that mechanical royalty, but it needs to be in there. It needs to be done. And the only way you're going to get it via a BeatStars contract is if the artist or whoever purchased the beat upon release registers it correctly, because that's the only way that the mechanical royalty agencies will recognize that you need to get mechanical royalties for the song is if they registered it at a PRO. Hint, hint. That's in the 60-day record label if you don't have that, so you got to know it. All right? Now, on top of that, we got to talk about a producer royalty, because in the BeatStars contracts, there may be a producer royalty there if I don't know if they updated that. I got to go double check. I haven't seen that in a long time. Unless you put it in there yourself, it's not going to be in there. And if I was me, I would negotiate for record one. Right? Because after they surpass 500,000 streams, you may not be aware of it. It may not hit your radar until they're pushing 3, 4, 5 million streams. But if it's in the contract that after the cap, they have to come back and negotiate the producer royalty for everything 500,000 streams and beyond. You get what I'm saying? Then, all right, cool, we can negotiate that. We can also negotiate more payment. But if you let them get an unlimited amount of streams at the streaming services, you don't really have too many strong grounds to negotiate. Yeah, they may say, okay, yeah, that sounds good. But you gave them an unlimited lease to stream as much as they want to. So if they don't really care about ownership, they just want to get the money. You gave them the rights to get the money. You're not getting a producer royalty. So this is why you want to place the caps on the thing. I'm not talking down to y'all. I'm just saying, stop leaving money on the table because you don't know how to read the contract. Really read it, really investigate it. And before you say something to me, understand that I got a lot of experience in this game, man. I'm not just some YouTuber. Like, I might not mention all of my accolades. I might not mention everything that I do. But yo, I know one thing. I'm not selling a lease beat without a cap. Straight up. Like, straight up. Because if the money is a cap, then it has to be more than just, because them unlimited streams can run rampant. And you'd be surprised how quickly 500,000 streams can come. Because the only metric you actually have out there is YouTube and Spotify at the general public level. But on the back end, what I can see when I process royalty statements at my company is I can see a lot more than that, man. And just a little bit of a hint from the back end here. On my end, the top streaming services are Spotify, Amazon Music at number 2, right? From paid sources. YouTube, it doesn't even drop that much cash like that. You think, but they don't. Spotify, Amazon Music, and then Apple Music. And Tidal and Pandora is somewhere in the mix out there. YouTube is somewhere in the mix out there. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm seeing when I'm processing royalty statements. So put the caps on the contracts. Stop with the unlimited leases. At least I'm trying to help you there. You know what I mean? I'm not a super fan of the lease world because it causes a lot of headache on the admin side. That's just a personal bias. But I'm helping you out, producers. You want grounds to renegotiate later. That's the ultimate prize to this video. My point, there are many more points I could go over, but my main point is this: set those limits, renegotiate after they cross the thresholds of the contract. Right? You got work to do. Book a call with me if you want to know that formula. Grab the 60-day record label if you want to set up your record label or your publishing company and get all your mechanicals from every organization and get everything done right and protect your rights inside of that LLC. Visit musicmoneymakeover.com, Music Money Makers, and I'll see you next time. Peace.